Not doing the
ASMR beekeeping. Welcome to my ASMR beekeeping channel. Thanks for joining me at ASMR beekeeping. We're moving along now.
Stop freaking me out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brandon's Bees. So today it's going to be a quick inspection. It's August and gearing up for the winter. So what I want to do, I want to inspect the bees. I want to see if they've rebuilt that comb that I broke last time. I want to see if they are moving up into the flow frames at all. I don't know if they are or not. If not, I want to double check, make sure they have enough honey for the winter. I'm putting my gloves on this time because it's going to be a quick check, and I don't want to move too fast and get stung. So I'm going to make sure I have my gloves on just this one time so that I can move quickly through without being too conscious about whether I'm going to get stung or not. So I'm going to glove up. That's pretty much it. Make sure the queen's still laying. Make sure that they rebuilt that comb. Make sure they're storing honey, getting ready for the winter coming up. Where I live, they have a fall flow, so a fall honey flow. So they should be able to store honey for the winter coming up with a few more months, So I'm not too concerned, but I think they're kind of full with honey right now. So those are the things I want to check. Let's get started. I put a regular frame up here with the flow frames to see if it would draw them up. And from what I can see, they've cross-combed, or they burred it to one of these flow frames, this empty frame that they've cleaned out. So they're up here, they're inside doing their thing. So I'm just going to leave it, see if they start. I can tell that they haven't filled any of these flow frames yet, although they may have started in the middle and I can't see it. But from what I can see, they are climbing on them, doing some stuff. So they may not use them this season. They might not. I'm going to go ahead and leave them on anyway, just because we have a few more months of honey flow coming out. So they might move up here and use some of these. If they do, I don't know if I'll extract from them or not. I may just leave them for the bees. I might take one or two, but we'll see when that happens. Very gummy queen excluder. This very first frame right here is the one that I broke. I can see already on this side they've burred it right here on one section to the wall, right there as well, and they're connected to this other frame. So I'm going to smoke them, get them to move down out of the way. So I think they've repaired it. Let's pull it out and take a look. This is just a little cup I found. I'm keeping the wax in so I don't lose it. Completely repaired. See that? They built it all up, put it back in, built up all new comb. That's all new comb full of honey. See it? Looks good. Top to bottom. Full of honey. Good work, ladies. So that's been about 10 days since I broke this frame the last time. They've already repaired it and filled it with honey, and these are honey storage cells they built in the middle because they're much bigger than the worker brood cells. This is all 100% natural comb honey. So if I were going to make comb honey, this is the one I would use because it's pure white, see? Kind of lumpy, but that's alright. Then we'll just go through and check, make sure the queen's still laying. I'm going to do a quick inspection. Well, I know I have a laying queen because there's capped brood here, and the ones that aren't capped, I can see little eggs down in the very middle. I'm scanning for her. I don't see her on this frame. Again, I'm not an expert on finding the queen. Mine's not marked, but I have found her a couple times. They're all heavier too, so I know that they're bringing in the honey. Oh, this one's heavy. It's again all honey here. So I think these bees are going to have plenty of honey going into the winter. A lot of brood on there too. So that's looking pretty good. This one feels light, but that's because it's got hatched out brood. There's tons of eggs and larvae and stuff in here though, so she's still using it. Just recently it's hatched out, but she's reused it already. So you see this hole right here on this frame? That corresponds with the other frame. You get this sometimes when you have natural comb, but I'll show you. On this next frame right next to it, the reason there's a hole there is because on this next one it's got a big extrusion right there that sticks out, so they built around it. This one, if you look, that's full of brood. Look at all that. That's all brood, this whole frame, except for this little corner that has honey in it. And I assume on the other side. Yep, exactly the same. Full of brood. These are good bees. Couldn't ask for better bees. I saved all my wax that I've been keeping since I got these bees in May. Rendered it down last week and got a tiny little bit. But I thought I had more, but you have to remember that wax, honeycomb, is mostly air. So even though it looks like a lot, there's very little wax in it. So I didn't even have enough to make a tea light candle, but I'm saving it. It'll compound over time. Let's check this beetle trap. There's beetles in it, which is good. You want them in the trap, not in your hive. So just like the last frame on this side of the box was full of honey, this one's all full of pollen. See that? All the different colors. If you're a baby bee, this would be your favorite frame. Alright, so we're done with this box. Okay, we're going to move on to the second box now. So I'm going to take this first one off. What I noticed on the bottom board is right over here in this little area, these little black specks again. And I know from looking stuff up on the internet that these are wax moth larva droppings. So what I'm going to try to look for are any wax moths that are living around this area. I haven't been able to find any, and I've checked this all the time, and there isn't really too many droppings, so I don't know if there are really that many wax moths at all, but might as well look for them all in here, right? And I'm going to try to speed through this one because I'm getting hot and irritable. So let's check this trap. Some more beetles in there. Just a few though. And again, I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any in the top box or this box yet. So there's only 4 in here. So whatever, maybe they're going away or they're done for the year, I don't know. So this frame has always been a little perplexing to me. See how it's super dark comb? This is a frame that came with the nuke. This side of the frame they've never used, but there's always bees on it. So I don't know. I would just get rid of it, but this side of the frame they're storing with honey, so I don't want to get rid of it. So I just leave it. And I think after this season, after winter and all that, I'll probably change that one out. That one's probably old enough. I'll give them a new one. Second frame in the bottom box. Speeding through. Oop, see the festooning there on the left? Next to my left hand. See them just hanging. They're still building wax. This one's light. Some brood around the edges, not in the middle, but I see eggs. So she's laying. This will all be brood at some point. There's little eggs right in the middle of all those. I don't know if you can see in there. I don't know how good the light is, but there's little tiny eggs right inside. So she's laying in both boxes, which I know for sure. And I think that's all I need to know. So let's button this hive up. I know everything I need to know. She's laying. They got tons of honey. I got lots of bees. Lots of babies. Everything's looking good. Now, one thing I do want to check, I want to see what they're doing with this frame here. They've burred it to the flow frames. I want to see what they're doing with it. It's full of honey. See? You see it? That's all honey. And I'm not feeding sugar water. So they're storing up here. So my hope is they've rebuilt all this. I scraped off all the old comb. This is all new comb they built. So my hope is they're using this as kind of like a starter point for the flow frames. I don't know if that's going to work or not. It's kind of an experiment. But they are coming up here and storing honey. So 1/2 of my experiment is successful. So things are going great. Laying queen, honey in the boxes, tons of honey. So much honey. I kind of feel like taking some, but I don't want to. I'll just leave it for the bees. And I moved a blank frame up here in the flow box, and they are storing honey in the wax of the regular frame. So my hypothesis and my hope is they're going to start there and then move out on these flow frames. We'll see if that happens, but that's what I think will. See all these dead ones? The bees took all these dead ones out while I was working in there. Isn't that crazy? I never saw it. They did it themselves. I just had it laying here next to the hive. They grab a dead bee, boom, throw them out of the hive. They're very hygienic. Thanks for watching. ASMR beekeeping. Just kidding. Now look at the bees for a little while.